Far beyond the northern shipping routes, where the sea turns black and the storms never fully fade, there is a region sailors call the Abyssal Waters. It is a place where the ocean seems deeper than anywhere else in the world. The water there is so dark that even during daylight it looks like a bottomless void. For centuries, Viking sailors avoided those waters, not because of storms, but because ships that sailed into the abyssal waters sometimes disappeared without a trace. No wreckage, no survivors, just empty ocean. Old Norse sailors told stories of a creature that lived in those depths, something so large it could pull entire fleets beneath the sea. They called it the Kraken. Most warriors believed it was nothing more than a sailor's nightmare, until the ships began vanishing again. Along the northern coast, merchants reported that entire trading vessels had failed to return from their voyages. Fishermen who traveled too far into the deep water spoke of strange currents and massive whirlpools appearing without warning. Some swore they saw something enormous moving beneath the waves, something with arms longer than a ship. In the harbor of Stormvik, a warrior named Rolf Deepwalker listened carefully to the frightened sailors. Rolf had spent years hunting creatures that lived far beyond the safety of human settlements. He had crossed frozen seas, fought ice serpents, and once survived a battle with a creature that dragged ships beneath the waves. But the stories of the Kraken were different. Sea monsters usually attacked near the surface. This creature lived deeper than anything else, far below the reach of sunlight. One night the sea became strangely calm, the wind disappeared, even the waves stopped moving. Rolf walked along the harbor cliffs overlooking the dark ocean. Something was wrong. The sea looked flat, too flat. Then he saw it, far out on the horizon. The water began sinking, not rising, sinking. The ocean collapsed inward as if the sea itself had opened a massive hole, a whirlpool, but larger than any whirlpool Rolf had ever seen. Ships near the center were dragged downward instantly. Then something emerged. At first it looked like enormous shadows rising from beneath the water. Then the shadows became arms. Massive tentacles broke through the surface of the sea, each one thicker than a Viking longship. Water cascaded down their enormous length as they rose higher and higher into the stormy sky. The Kraken had awakened. More tentacles followed. The creature's enormous body remained hidden beneath the water, but its arms spread across the ocean like living towers. One tentacle wrapped around a nearby ship. The vessel snapped in half like dry wood. The sailors never had time to scream. Rolf knew the creature would not stop. If the Kraken reached the coast, every harbor along the northern sea would be destroyed. Without hesitation, he climbed into a long ship with 4 warriors willing to follow him. The small ship rowed directly toward the massive whirlpool. The closer they sailed, the more violent the water became. The sea twisted violently around the center of the abyss as the Kraken's enormous body moved beneath the surface. Then the creature noticed them. A massive tentacle shot from the water. The warriors barely steered the ship aside as the arm slammed into the ocean beside them, creating a wave that nearly flipped the vessel over. Rolf stood at the front of the ship, gripping his weapon, a runic harpoon forged from ancient iron. The weapon had once been used to hunt sea serpents. Now it would face something far worse. Another tentacle rose behind the ship. Rolf waited. When the creature swung its massive arm toward them, Rolf hurled the harpoon with all his strength. The weapon flew through the air and buried itself deep into the creature's flesh. The runes ignited instantly. Blue fire exploded across the Kraken's arm. The creature reacted instantly. The entire ocean erupted. Massive waves exploded outward as the Kraken thrashed violently beneath the water. Its enormous tentacles whipped across the sea, destroying everything around them. One tentacle struck the lockship. The vessel shattered. Rolf was thrown into the freezing water. For a moment he disappeared beneath the waves. Then he surfaced, grabbing a floating piece of wood as the storm raged around him. The Kraken screamed, a sound so deep it felt like the ocean itself was breaking apart. The glowing runes of the harpoon continued burning inside the creature's flesh. Finally the Kraken retreated. Its massive arms slowly sank back into the abyssal depths. The whirlpool collapsed. The ocean slowly returned to calm. By dawn the sea was empty again. Rolf drifted toward the shore on broken wreckage. The Kraken had not died. Creatures that ancient could not be killed by a single weapon, but it had returned to the darkness below, far beneath the ocean floor. The Kraken waited, and deep within the abyss, something even larger moved in the darkness.